Hello, my name is Olivia Mami, and welcome to IT Service Management, otherwise known as ITSM. As technology becomes an integral part of every business. Every company are looking for ways to incorporate IT service into overall business needs. Now, ITSM helps businesses build structure around the life cycle of IT services from creation to management and upkeep. So this is what we are going to be looking at today. How is ITSM good for businesses? What ITSM is, and why your business needs to integrate it, how you can implement ITSM processes, the certification, the future of ITSM. Now, I wouldn't want you to go anywhere because if you're looking at integrating ITSM into your business, then this is where you need to be today. Our agenda for today is going to cover everything you can see on my screen from what is ITSM, the benefits, your business plus ITSM, implementing ITSM processes, the certification, the future of ITSM, and most importantly, we're going to look at AI in ITSM. So first of all, what is ITSM? Now, IT service management is described as a set of policies, processes, and procedures for managing the implementation, improvement, and support of customer oriented IT services. The vision for me in when we talk about ITSM is unlike all the IT management practices that focuses on hardware, network or systems. ITSM, on the other hand, aims to constantly improve IT customer service in alignment with business goals. I feel, for one, that is what every business who wishes to integrate ITSM into their businesses needs to consider. And also, I feel the mission of ITSM encompasses multiple IT management framework that can apply to centralized and decentralized systems. Now, although the most common perception of ITSM among IT users or employees is just IT support, which most of us have heard about, ITSM goes way beyond resolving day to day issues. Your IT team is also responsible for the end to end management of these services. Now, the benefits of ITSM. Now, what you can see on my screen is what I deem the foremost important when you look at the benefits of ITSM, if it's IT specific or business level specific. Then we have that the process implementation based on the best practice. We have better understanding of business needs, higher IT service availability, um, levels for higher business productivity, as well as ITSM is beneficial because it increase visibility and understanding of IT services. Now we also have more of more benefits. ITSM helps you reduce incident life cycle, which is very important when you're IT specific, and as well as increase the value and cost efficiency. ITSM also helps you manage expectations better, and you also reduce impact of incidents on your business. Now, trust me, there are more benefits out there, but I just want us to know about those four, which are very much important. Now, when we talk about your business and ITSM, what are we trying to say? Now, if your business has more than a handful of staff, and if even one of you is the person you can term as the IT guy, you are already doing what we call the ITSM in a little way. But as businesses grow, you would find out that you need to bring in more mature processes to get the most benefit out of IT service management investment. So we're going to just talk about the common benefits of ITSM, and would also focus on what you can see highlighted on my screen, which is reduce IT costs. So some of the benefits of ITSM are in reduce costs, increase competitive advantage, improve the quality of service, improve customer satisfaction, improve flexibility, improve governance, and reduce risks, as well as increase agility for new IT service. Now, looking at using ITSM to reduce costs, let's talk about a key benefit as we previously discussed. Now, IT service management can help you do a number of things, some of which is increase IT efficiency. And in order to increase IT efficiency, ITSM can help you with your process workflow, your it can also help you save time and money, service-based incident management, efficient use of scarce IT human resource, insightful reports too, because with ITSM you can automate the report generating process, as well as reduce reporting costs. And other ways that you use ITSM to reduce costs is it helps you increase your business efficiency. And how does it increase business efficiency? Now, IT service management can reduce the downtime with the help of incident, problem, and availability management, and it's also help businesses to quickly bounce back from critical IT issues. Now, it also helps you prevent issues before they occur. So, um, prevents it prevents serious business affecting issues through problem management and capacity management. And finally, with ITSM, you're able to reduce waste. And how can ITSM help you reduce waste? It with improve efficiency, which helps you save time and efforts, and unnecessary costs by reducing wastage and avoiding duplication of work, which we see most of the time in organizations. It also optimizes spending by ensuring that any new IT spend is essential through asset configuration and capacity management, as well as remove the costs of duplicate or obsolete assets, um, facilitates the redevelopment of underutilized assets like PC, other devices, and installed personal productivity software need to be effectively tracked to prevent underutilization. And lastly, ITSM can help you reduce wastage by preventing change related or inconsistency based wastage. So by this you're avoiding the cost of reworking mistakes that is ultimately the duplication or the duplication of efforts. So these are ways that ITSM helps you save costs. So what about implementing ITSM process, which is very much important? If you decide to go if you want to, you know, move into IT service management, how do you really implement this? Now, the way to choose the right ITSM process is to look at what your business needs, which is very, very important. And ITSM process require not just an ITSM tool to implement, but a cultural change. Now, the customer or end users need to see IT as a service provider and not just as another department in the organization. So in ITSM term, I would say it translates from going to incident management to problem management. So an example I can give in this case is a storage space issue. So you keep deleting files and application every time your hard drive maxes out. But the solution to this would just be installing a bigger hard drive, as this is a long-term solution, or just using a cloud-based storage. So ITSM processes should be implemented by keeping these things in mind. One of them is the maturity of the team. What do we mean by this? Now, if your team is mature, and the first question is if your team is mature enough to require the adoption of ITSM process. Now, an organization with a total of, let's say, 35 people would not benefit from adopting the ITSM processes as much as an organization with 170 people that is expanding rapidly. Right. Now, another process we need to keep in mind is the problem statement, which is very much important. Are you trying to cut down on the IT budget? What is the issue you're trying to solve? By answering these questions, you will be able to achieve you're able to achieve more by bringing systematic processes and predictability into the IT organization. So you're not just going to say, yes, I want to implement ITSM process, but you also need to consider this you need to consider this this key things: the maturity of the team, the problem statement, and also lastly the framework to be adopted. You need to ask yourself, what is the framework that needs to be adopted? What framework is going to suit my team? Now this largely depends on the problem statement, because once you have defined your problem, you'll be able to quickly pick a framework that is suitable for you and your team. Now, while every framework helps you achieve structure, which is true, and predictability, and helps you predict in varying capacities. Now, the processes they employ are different. It's just like saying you want to use you have various type of pasta, but you know that you can only use a certain type of pasta to make macaroni and cheese. So that's simply what we mean by the framework to be adopted. Now we'll just quickly talk about the ITSM certification. Now remember, this is just a briefing of what I really want to focus on today, but by the 4th of August, I would also be having a live discussion on Become Dev Center, where you'd be able to hear me talk in depth what ITSM truly and truly is. I would also focus on I would also talk more on what ITSM is, the importance, how to implement it, its the best practices, what the tools are, how to select the tools, and most importantly, how you can fit ITIL and ITSM and the benefits of ITSM. Now, remember ITIL, I talked about ITIL some weeks back, um, and I explained what ITIL is. So, for the 4th of August 2022, I would also, on my live discussion on the Income Dev Center YouTube page, I would also be talking more on how we can fit ITIL and ITSM. Now, the certification of ITSM. Now, while there is no ITSM certification per se, there are certifications for popular ITSM frameworks like ITIL or COBAT, and I know we have lots more. There are so much more of them, which I would be discussing, like I mentioned. And with ITIL being the most popular ITSM framework, an ITIL certification is considered widely accepted as an ITSM certification. Now, remember what I just said. There is no ITSM certification, but an ITU certification is considered accepted as an ITSM certification. Now, an ITSM certification has various certification level, and the ITU version 3 has 5 levels. They have 5 levels, which you can see on my screen right now. Also, we know that we have a new version of i2, which is the i2 4, and which was released in 2019, but I would not really focus on that certification at the moment. So for the ITSM version 3 certification, we have the foundation, we have the practitioner, intermediate, the expert, and the master. So you have to move from one stage to the other and not backward. So before you find the right certification program for you, you need to know the framework you plan to use. So you're not just going into, oh yes, I want a certification. No, you have to know what framework you are going to use and why you can be satisfied in ITSM as a discipline. Most programs are based on a specific framework. Just like I said, we have the ITU certification, and you can also get certified in specific ITSM tools like the ServiceNow, the SysAid. Remember, I would still talk more on the ITSM tools on the 4th of August on the Income Dev Center YouTube page. So if you want to hear more, you can also set the date, set the time. The time is 9 a.m. West African time, and I'll just talk more on that. So when we talk about the future of ITSM, which for sure something that is just coming, right? You know that it has like a long-term prediction. Definitely people who want to use it out there in the future to come. So uh, with the digital age, we know comes new sets of expectations. And when it comes to organizational performance, the role of ITSM, customer expectations, and more. Right. So now, as a result of that, ITSM must evolve and expand its role to meet those expanding needs. That's the purpose of the IT4. Now, the IT4 that came in 2019, which is relatively flexible, so that it can adapt to a variety of business goals, has been able to support most most important areas that businesses are trying to grow in. And with as with most technologies, we when we talk about ITSM, we talk about, we talk about AI, and AI in ITSM would bring about automation of mundane work with changes like auto ticket resolution, predictive maintenance, workload optimization, and so on. So the future of ITSM would be heavily influenced by AI, with effects reaching across departments, from the management to the agents and to the customers. So what areas do we see ITSM in the future? We would see it in artificial intelligence, would see it in enterprise, in So the reason why I feel would see AI in the future of ITSM is because AI has received a lot of praise and hype in recent years, and it's promising exponential gains in productivity and performance. Some persons even expect this technology to completely transform the way we live and work. And in the near term, AI security would become a top concern for many CIOs, since AI can be used both, offensively and defensively. But AI, I, ITSM is performance improvement. Now, there are several applications to AI, of AI to ITSM, which are, we have the robotic process optimization, where you can automate many repetitive tasks within ITSM, thereby increasing productivity and improving efficiency. And which with AI, with composable IT infrastructure, which uses AI-driven algorithms to dynamically compose IT infrastructure as needed. And AI-powered customer care improves, the customer experience and slashes customer service costs and simplifies many aspects of ITSM, such as the incident management. Another area we have to look at for is the enterprise service management, which represent both a new approach to service governance and management governance, and management, as well as IT platform. So the enterprise service management is designed to integrate IT with other business functions like the finance, human resource, customer service, legal, marketing, and um, this new approach doesn't just represent a change to business areas, such as those we have listed, but it also represents a shift in ITSM's core practices. Now, another is DevOps, which we have seen in recent years, as ITSM evolves, DevOps will become increasingly popular with ITSM. Now, DevOps, which combines both development and operations team, focus on principles such as incremental change, automation, production pipeline built around continuous improvement, and regular feedback and input. And since DevOps aligns well with business approaches, such as Agile, adopting this approach in ITSM can help organizations IT programs stay adaptable, innovative, and fast. So the next is the low code and no code platform, which we have seen, which is another trend that is influencing the entire enterprise. As we can see, low code platforms streamline and automate app development and only require a small amount of programming in order to finalize an app's creation, while a no code platform requires zero coding and can be used by anyone regardless of their technical skill. Now, an example of a no-code tool that can be used to develop apps, automate workflows, and more is something we call the digital adoption platform. And lastly, as ITSM grows more complex, platforms such as this will significantly, streamline the approach or to app production and can save ITSM teams time and money. And lastly, we would look at remote IT service management. As we know, with the COVID that actually hit globally in 2020, um, um, the, the crisis accelerated innovation in many areas of businesses. Now, of any business, remote working is one example. Since employees were forced to work from home, many companies were compelled to adopt new workflows and new softwares, and migration to the cloud, for instance, became commonplace, and many organizations can now operate effectively either online or offline. So while many employees will return to the office or already working from the office, the transition to the cloud and a remote working, you know, foreshadows a future where ITSM would also be, it would also be remote. So this is why I would say the future of ITSM truly is safe. So let's just point let's look at AI in ITSM, and the implementation of AI can take place in many forms. We have intelligent asset provisioning, the AI-powered knowledge management, predictive maintenance, and sentimental analysis. Now, AI-powered service desks would monitor an asset's performance and would raise the ticket for replacements of assets if its performance deteriorates. That's where intelligent asset provisioning comes in. And with sentimental analysis, this predicts the end user's emotion of at the time of submitting a ticket, which would in turn help the agent respond accordingly and improve the CSAT score. And with AI, we have the predictive maintenance, which AI as AI-powered service desks would continually, monitor infrastructure and raise a ticket if anything goes down and if anything goes down. So these are areas these are just what I wanted us to really think about if you're a business wishing to move to you want to use one software, you want to use a tool, you want to implement, integrate ITSM into your business. These are the things you need to look out for. You can reach me, you can find more information on my portfolio page, which is Olivia Wami, the space. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter using Olivia Wami. You can reach me there whenever you have any, you want to talk about anything, you have more questions. You can also send your questions um, on the comment section. I would be happy to hear your feedback. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.